We're live.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Um, Dustin Garman here, aka I guess you could call me Bobby Boucher today. And of course we've got my buddy here, Jeff Fox.
Yeah, and I am currently everybody at Camp Crystal Lake. So
And none other than Joshua Bryan, aka Mr. Giggles, aka Happy Peppa. I can't do his
Hello there,
best.
everybody out there in wonderful little magical box land. Look at you, you're looking so pretty with a little special black hair. And Jeffrey,
yeah,
you
sure.
are so sexy sitting there as everybody. I cannot. Ooh.
Oh,
Oh, what
thank
I
you.
would do with that hat.
Ooh,
Well, Happy Peppa,
down
I
for
was just
that.
gonna say that I was wondering how today was gonna go, so
Get me a hot
I
under
called my
collar.
I called my mom before the show, and she said, Mama said this is going to be a good show."
I
So,
believe it will.
to kick off this Halloween show, it's been a big day for you. Um, you're launching your new Crimson Woods that just launched on Kickstarter, and man, I had to back it first thing.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been it hasn't been a roller coaster. I wouldn't say that. It's been pretty much a straight climb so far. We're sitting at $5,147 pledged at 32%. I think I'm pretty stoked with the numbers. So just need to keep on getting it climbing and get funded, and that'll be copy of these games out there, everybody.
Yeah, I am actually doing my pledge at the moment. Sorry, because I've been working today and didn't get around to it earlier. But
No, I appreciate that.
there it is. Yay! All the little
Awesome.
special stuff that comes down when you do it. So I think I'm 77 or whatnot. But yeah, no, it looks like it's gonna be a fun board game. So I'm glad we get to talk to you today. It's a good day for it.
So, Josh, I was going to start things off with just a little bang. When did you come into Super Show and everything?
So Super Show, it was back in like 2014, I think, or so. There was a either like an ad or something on one of the other board game group pages, I think, where Steve was just like kind of like advertising it, talking about it, saying, "Hey, we're going to do a little special giveaway. Enter the giveaway, and you might win a free deck or a free 2 pack." And we ended up winning, and I won the Rising Sun and the Big Show 2 pack, you know, 2 pack, I guess, or whatever. Um, and my son and I played it, and we were like, "This is great. This is a cool game." And then we saw that when PAX Unplugged 2 years ago, they were going to be at Philly, and I started seeing that the community had its own. Joseph Ritchie had started the discussion group, and that people were cutting promos on each other. I was like, dude, I want to be a part of this. So then 2 years ago is when I really started putting more effort into playing SRG, mainly just to do the promos, because I used to be in backyard wrestling and wanted to be a pro wrestler at one point. And so I was like, man, I could do all this and not really have to take a steel chair. And then I do a promo where I make my son hit me with the steel chair. So
And of course, you gave out that persona of a Mr. Giggles that I love. I've always loved that character for you. I like the craziness and the promos that you brought out into that character. Has that been something that maybe followed you from a different game, or is that something you just up and came out with?
well, Mr. Giggles has always been something that has been deep inside the dark recesses of my mind. I can't get away from him for whatever reason. He's in there, whatever, and he pops out whenever he wants to. But no, I have done haunted trails and haunted attractions. Oh, jeez, man, since I was in high school, and he at one point, I was Hannibal Lecter, I was Leatherface, and finally one point there was a haunted trail when I moved to Maryland, and they were like, "Hey, you could do whatever want? You know, you're a big guy, you're a scary guy. What do you think you want to do? And I was like, I saw this really cool clown jumpsuit at Kmart. I want to go grab it, and then I'm going to do my makeup up, and I'm just going to walk around in the woods and scare the crap out of the people in the hayride. And they were like, "Hey, it works." And so I was one of the OG clown guys before all these other clown guys started making bad names for us that were, you know, on the just popping out of the woods or whatever. And that's how Giggles came to be, and how he's always stuck by me is just he's always there, and I mean, he's not going nowhere. No, if SRG were to stop being a thing today, Giggles would still be Giggles, because I just use him for so much stuff. So
That's it. That's interesting. Which I love. I like all the horror and stuff like that. So that's right up my alley. And then you have a different persona. Um, I don't know if you want to call it a sexier persona or what other people in this community call it, but you have Peppy Peppa.
good old
And
Peppy, yeah.
and how did that get into? How did that come about?
Well, Dustin, the way Peppy came to be is solely because my big brother and the ex love of my life, Eddie Fury, are already in the game, and that's how Peppy came to be. Yeah, no, it was just like one day I was sitting around, and I was like, I'm always, my wife, like I'll act like that, and I'll do that persona, and my wife will sit there. She's like, "Are you sure? You need to tell me something." And it's just I've always been good with voices. I've always been good with getting people to laugh, interacting with people. People tell me all the time that I'm in the wrong profession, and so I just started thinking, well, it's got Salty Sailor, Peppy Pepper would be great, and I'll just be like the little brother of Salty Sailor, or the little sister of Salty Sailor, and that's how it came to be for her. Was just really to mess with Mark and Doug, and she's became probably the she's been put over the most than between the two of them so far. So
It's been a crazy, I guess, year for Peppy Pepper. I've seen her steal Belle's clothing and all kinds of stuff, and I've seen I've seen a Mr. Giggle switch up. I've seen you hit with chairs, and if you don't care to share that, we were talking about how you were trying to make yourself bleed in one of your promos. I thought that was really funny.
oh yeah, so when the whole gimmick, when it was supposed to be me versus um, GPS, and just my personas versus GPS. GPS wanted to sit there and fight Peppy because he likes to beat up on women, and the and so they the whole idea was that we were going to this interaction was going to be between those two, and I was like with my son. I was like, look, for some reason Giggles doesn't want to come out, but he needs to come out right now. We need to get him to come out. So I had my son straight up hit me with a real steel chair, and I'm not talking about the flimsy steel chairs that the WWE pays for. I'm talking about a legit steel chair, and he hit me with it a couple times. I told him hit me light, and I was like, no, you gotta hit me for real. And he hit me harder. And like I told you before, and I've told a couple other people, I was legitimately, because I wanted to sell it so bad, I was legitimately thinking about blading. And my wife kind of gave me this look when I said it. And thankfully, from last year from Halloween, we had some spray blood, and I was able to turn around, look like I was hurt, and then just spray the spray blood a lot. And it looked legit on camera. I thought it turned out pretty good, so I was happy with the way it turned out.
And also, Jeff, just make sure, do we have any questions or anything?
Not from the Twitch chat at the moment, because everyone seems to be really interested in the story. Though we did have Kwaiwai Nomics mentioning that Peppy is a sworn frenemy, But right now, most people are entering the raffle and whatnot, and just
Okay.
enjoying the story.
Alrighty. I just wanted to make sure real quick. Stop me if anybody's got questions.
Sure, I will.
But
Sorry about that.
you've been in this game and everything, and I've played you before online, and it's always been a blast. What is some of the good things you've gotten out of this community?
Well, obviously today was one of the best things that ever came out of this community. I mean, there's a lot of people that are. I mean, there's still a good bit of people back in the game that aren't from SRG. There's still, my friends, people that have heard about the game from the promotional stuff that I've put out. But like for example, the Create a Killer tier alone, I had 5 people, 5 of those tier level available, and all 5 of them were taken by SRG Persona people. So those were all, in the like we've always sat there and said that SRG is a family, and it truly is. Sometimes we have our little bitter disputes. Sometimes we get mad at each other, but what family doesn't? And so there's the best. I think the best thing that came from this so far is the support that I've been shown for my game, Crimson Woods. From the community, and I think that really, other than that, it's just having fun, playability of just playing with some people, the friendships that have came out of the game. I mean, not only is it a game that I play with people, but there's people that I talk to now like on a daily basis that has nothing to do with SRG or Crimson Woods or whatever. It's just hitting them up saying, "Hey, how are you?" Or they hit me up saying, "How are you doing today?" Or all of us being friends on Facebook for the most part now, and people just chiming in on something that you post. And so it's a great community. I've never been part of a community, and I've been part of quite a few communities, and still are part of those communities that the interaction is just not the same. It's great in SRG.
All right.
And
We do actually have a couple questions from the chat now. So you told me to interrupt you.
yeah.
So the first one is the standard question of pineapple or sheep.
Hmm. Well, I mean both, because I want them both to go back Crimson Woods. Actually, no, I say pineapple because Kirk Buckles already paid his money. So yeah, Matt Neal, and I haven't checked to see if Matt has already backed or not. But no, it's in all seriousness. Between the real answer, I would have to say sheep. I love Matt to death, but Polka has done so much for Peppy and for me, and even though Peppy's had her, in a sense, Peppy was put in a corner by the GM because Peppy was supposed to have a shot at that title because I won the 4-way against Steel Wool and Eddie Fury and Uber,
Mm-hmm.
and I should have been in another match, but it never came into fruition. So that kind of was taken from Pepe. So, but Polka, he was the one who put me in that whole tournament or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the one who got the artwork done for me and Bobby O. So I would have to go sheep.
All right. On that line, there is also a question of Mrs. Weapon or the Living Weapon. Who is better?
Oh, Mrs. Weapon, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, the superior weapon, as I like to say.
Yeah.
And thank you, Evil Ed, for the sub as well. And Master Micah, the man who is trying to become a rising star, wants to know who is the sister of Peppy and who is the future baby daddy. People are done waiting.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. I got to get back. Listen, I apologize for all my lack of promo-ness. It's been all building up to this day to get this thing launched. If you guys remember, I kind of disappeared about this same time last year. or like a little bit earlier, because about the same time is when I got my first initial seed money for
Hmm.
Crimson Wood, and got a lot of my artwork done and started getting things rolling.
Yeah.
Um, so I apologized for like the disappearance of Peppy lately. But thank you. I'm so happy that there's actually people that are still thinking about who's the baby daddy and who's the sister, because we still got plans for all of that. The sister reveal was supposed to happen at the last grand gathering, and I'm sorry that it didn't come into fruition, but it will come. I'll make sure of it within the next couple of weeks. I'll make sure to reveal who the sister is, and then the baby daddy. That's gonna blow your all's mind.
All right. See, always keep us wanting more is, I think, the key. Like, obviously, it's an engaging storyline. If even like after a few months, people are still just on the edge of their seats, waiting. Way better than Days of Our Lives. Way better.
Exactly. The daddy thing all I'm saying is look back to when puzzles first, and you just think about some of the stuff that was happening on that first night of puzzles. When Peppy got really, really drunk on Zoom, um, then you guys can maybe piece together who the baby daddy is.
And Hold the Line Harry mentioned that he had a great night drinking moonshine and playing cards with you. It started with Bump Flimp Drink, and the rest is history. And he wonders if you remember.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's one good thing about being part Irish is I might be slightly hungover after I have a good night's drinking, but I remember everything.
All right. All right. So we are caught up with the Twitch chat questions. Let me no raised hands in Zoom. So, oh, by the way, if you're in the Zoom, you can always raise a hand to ask a question as well, and have it be an audio one. You'll know sometimes I miss them because I'm on other screens. But yep. All right. So I was interrupted you, Dustin. So
Oh, you're good, buddy.
you should probably go back to that question you were going to ask before I asked all the cool
Hell,
questions.
we were talking about Crimson Woods, of course, and I seen about a week ago. You know, it was the first Jason Voorhees actually. That was really awesome to do to do that video for the game. I seen that. That was really cool.
Uh, I
How did it come around?
Well, I mean, if you see the video in the bottom corner, it says cameo. So obviously, it was definitely something that I got set up through Cameo. Through Cameo, which anybody who doesn't know what Cameo is, it's a service that you can use to get famous people to do shout outs, do like birthday messages. I think if you guys recall, Jen had Matt Hardy do a cameo for John. I think last year, not this past birthday, but the birthday before.
Okay.
So that's what it was. It was through Cameo. I wanted to do Kane Hodder, but my budget wasn't going to be able to do it. And Ari was really reasonably priced. So I was like, heck yeah, I would love to have Ari do it. So I sent him a message, and he was up for it. And I mean, obviously, he was getting paid, so obviously he up for it. But really cool, and it's a cool thing that you just asked me this. Somebody just messaged me, and apparently, they are actual real life friends, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently they are, with Ari. And Ari is a keen board gamer and is actually a part of their board game group. And Ari said that ever since he did that promo, he's looked into it, and their group is going to get a copy of the
Oh,
game.
nice.
And so maybe there might be some type of video down the road of Ari actually playing it. That would be pretty wicked.
I mean, maybe he could pay $300 to get himself as a killer in the game.
Yeah, right. I'll add an extra spot just for that.
Yeah.
That would probably, I mean, that would probably get him in there to, to make something like that. You might want to pitch that to him. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I get my money.
you make that cameo money back by having him from stuff in the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so the phenomenal one has a question: will Peppy Pepper or Mr. Giggles be in the Crimson Woods?
Okay, everybody keeps on asking me if Mr. Giggles is going to be there, which number one tells me one thing about all y'all making your pledges, and I mean I'm happy that you guys have made your pledges, but it tells me you guys have just hit that back this project button and not worried about looking at any of the page, which I'm 100% fine with. Because if you scroll down all the way to the stretch goals, it says the third stretch goal, killer number 1. If we hit $18,500, Giggles the Clown. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. Then it's hilarious.
Mhm.
Unlock the infamous Giggles the Clown, who brings his own sadistic twist to Crimson Woods and tries to introduce you to his good friend Porgy.
Yeah. So you know.
So, as a stretch goal, yes, Giggles the Clown is hopefully going to be in the game.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to get this thing funded, get some extra people to jump on the train,
Yep.
and they'll be there.
All right, and Chugonomics would like to know, what was your biggest inspiration for Edgar?
Some of you guys who might not have been part of the Crimson Wood group or whatnot, Edgar, I asked everybody in my Crimson Woods group, I said, I need some name ideas. The guy, for 4 years now, he's just been called the Killer. There was no art, there was no real art that, like a headway towards artwork or anything. Just wanted to do really cool, just a killer, and then I kind of wanted to keep them secretive anyway. And so then someone was like, no, we should name him. You should name him, So I asked for some name ideas. Someone threw out the name Edgar. I am a huge Baltimore Ravens fan. My son, and a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. My son is named Little Raven. Well, his name is Brendan, but it means Little Raven in game. And so Edgar was like perfect. If you guys look closely at the artwork on the computer, and once you guys get it, you'll see he's wearing a jumpsuit that his name tag says Allen, and obviously he has his pet raven on his shoulder, and his pet raven's name is Poe. So Edgar Allan Poe is the homage to the great horror writer. And then on top of that, the mask is done by a very talented Vicky. I'm going to butcher her last name. Clarice, I think. She makes all of her own masks at home, and she sells them online and everything. And I wanted something that I could actually physically have a copy of the mask of. So once convention season start up again and we start going to conventions, I can have someone that comes with me, and I can have them dress up as Edgar or whatnot and have that presence in the booth. And so I looked at all of her masks, and I found one that I really like. And I told her, I was like, look, this is going to be a part of my board game. Do I have your permission to actually physically make it, put it in the board game and have it be a part of this killer presence? And she loved the idea. So it was kind of like a collaboration of independent creators there. And that's pretty much how Edgar came to be.
All right,
That's really interesting. I like that you paid homage to Edgar Allan Poe too, because I'm a big, like I was saying earlier, big horror fan. So anything like from dark poetry and stuff like that, I love. So kudos to you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
all right. In a second, I will actually show a picture of Edgar for people who are watching. Be courtesy of Chuggy. I just have to get it set up because the show is not actually set up to do spoiler. Okay, there we go. Well, and now it's taking the whole screen. So I will, let me shrink Edgar down a little bit. I will put it over my face because, I'm kind of a fan of Poe. I mean, The Pell House is a pretty big
And,
historical landmark here in Philadelphia. Not
yeah,
that far. My father used to work a block away from it, and he used to visit it a lot on his lunch. Uh, so yeah, I'll leave that up for a little bit so people can enjoy it. Edgar, which is really cool art, and it is a cool mask. I like it. Like it a lot.
Yeah, I got to looking, the other. I was looking at some of the houses and, well, I should say the cabins and stuff like that. The artwork is very, very detailed. I really liked it. And then, like, the items that you find in the game is really interesting too.
yeah, I got so back when I started getting real serious about making this thing a game. So the story along that lines is I went to I had the game made up, prototype, printed up, stuff like that on pieces of paper, written out on pieces of paper, and I showed two friends of mine, a wife and husband, and they looked at it and we played it, and they were like, "Josh, this is a great game. It's a lot of fun." Um, then I took it to PAX Unplugged 2 years ago, and I showed it to a couple people. They, checked it out. They liked it, and then I showed it to my really good friends, two of my really good friends who are also board gamers, and they sat there and they were like, "Look, man." After we played it, they were like, "Look, we really want to hate this game." When people sit there and tell you, "Oh, I designed a game. Oh, I wrote a comic," you want to hate it. You want to be like, "Oh, this is crap." But he's like, "But you have something here. It looks real good. It looks fun." And they then I came back home, talked to the same two people that I had talked to before, the wife and husband, because before they were like, whenever this thing is ready to pop off, come talk to us because we want to get in on the ground floor. So I talked to them, and we played some more. They were like, I told them I was looking at artists. I hit up the art people or the art group for board games here on Kickstarter or here on Facebook. And I had a good guy named James Hayball pop in, and his artwork was his fantasy, and dark artwork was just amazing. I was like, dude, I think you'd make a great fit. I talked to my friends. They were like, if you're ready to make that leap, we are. And we hashed it out. We had a nice little contract set up, and they cut me a check, and we started doing the art, and the rest is history. James has been with me from word go. He does it for a very reasonable price. Helps me out here and there for cutting me deals on the art pricing. So I've told him, I was like, you're going to be my go-to guy when it comes to a couple different games. So.
All right. Because our show is not super long, I kind of want to get this question out of the way.
Yeah.
For the people who aren't familiar with Crimson Woods, it might have be hopping on and discovering this video at some point. What can you tell them about how the game works and whatnot?
Okay. So Camp Crimson Woods is a what I call a semi-cooperative survival horror game. You guys are all playing as a group of camp counselors that are waking up in the middle of the night from a blood-curdling scream, and then realize that there is a maniac killer on the loose running around trying to kill you, i.e. Friday the 13th in Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah. So the board is not really a regular board. It is actually 36 tiles. There is 4 tiles set up in the middle that are your main base camp. That's where everybody starts. Those tiles will always remain face up. Then there's 32 other tiles surrounding them in a 6x6 grid that are face down. And you're going to explore the campgrounds looking for the keys to a boat, a car, or a watchtower. And you will discover those by going to the different tiles and flipping them over and getting little search tokens. There's also certain things on each tile that you'll have to do to, like, if the killer might pop up and you have to fight them, or you might be able to search in the resource deck and get other resources as well. But also to escape out of the resource deck, you're going to need gas or batteries. So if you and your fellow counselors, or you by yourself, are able to find the keys and gas, or the keys and the watchtower batteries, you'll be able to try to trigger your end game by escaping once you've found that particular tile, and then hopefully escape from the killer. And the killer could potentially kill you, just like any other horror movie, or you can hopefully fend off the killer and then find the escape route and get away.
Okay.
The game itself, like people ask me, like, what's a ratio of the win loss for the game? Uh, Typically, it's a 40% win, 60% loss. And I know that kind of sounds a little scary, but I'm not sorry. Yeah, 40% win, 60% loss. I always get it backwards, but today I got it right. It sounds a little scary, but I mean, go watch an 80s horror movie and you'll know why.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we did have a question. They want to know, by semi-co-op, does that mean you can pull a Hollow King and betray your fellow campers?
Well, the reason I say semi-co-op is, and I have had the situation happen to me. I've never done it to anybody yet, but it happens a lot. So people will just up and leave you in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of times where, say, I have the keys and I have the gas for the car, and I stumble upon the car up in the upper right-hand corner of the board, and everybody else is searching in the bottom corner of the board. And if I just happen to have everything and I landed on the car, I have the choice of playing the gas. The keys, usually if you're on that tile, the keys actually not usually. The keys automatically get triggered and they're in the vehicle now, so you don't have to worry about that. But you have the option of playing the gas or the batteries to try to escape whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go ahead and say, you know what, I'm playing the gas and I'm going to start trying to roll to get out and leave everybody behind. Now, if that happens, those people who got left behind, they still have 2 other chances to get away, because the boat will still be there and the watchtower will still be there. Because once you choose one escape route, it is removed from the game completely.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You kick your camper in the leg, and then you make sure you get out there before them. I mean,
yeah, right?
Best survival options.
The best card that was ever in any the best flavor text in any Magic the Gathering set was in Mirage, and it said, "What do you do when you and your friend are being chased by a cheetah? You trip your friend."
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that too, because a lot of games, as soon as somebody escape, it all ends. I like the fact that you've got other options. It's not just one person survived, the game's over. I like the fact that it keeps going like a movie. And I like the different scenarios. One question I was going to ask you real quick is, I know a while ago you were talking about the base. You start out with 4 of them that are flipped up. Is the tiles that are always, like, the tiles that are around, are they always the same, or when you flip one, is it just going to be different, tiles?
They're going to be different. There's I don't know how many different variations of tiles there are off the top of my head right now. But there's like, there's an abandoned cabin, there's a stream, there's a walking path, there's a dead end, there's the killer's hideout, the killer's shrine, there's the field. So there's a bunch of different areas that you can discover when you're going around. The storage shed, the baseball field, a lot of different areas, locations that you would find at a campground.
Yeah.
And you shuffle all of those tiles up, and you're going to put it out differently every time. So every game is going to be different. One game in the upper right-hand corner might be the car, but then the next game, it might be down in the lower left-hand corner. So those are always going to end up changing. The 4 in the middle will always stay the same. And so I mean, it's going to be different. And then there's going to be other tiles that eventually get released down the road as well.
Okay, nice. I always like that saying, expect the unexpected. I like going into a game and not knowing, kind of like certain games and kind of like, Betrayal. You don't know what's going to happen. I love those type of games, and that I can't wait to play it. I really can't.
The replayability is very high for this game.
All right. So Master Micah says, if it's like an 80s horror movie, are certain counselors more prone to die? The counselors who get high and do the other things that usually lead to death in 80s horror games? Or
Well,
movies, I should say. Yeah.
there was definitely some flavor that I was trying to definitely use for the whole hot thing. There's two cards in it that are called Dead End. Number one, it's paying tribute to the haunted trail that I worked to for the last couple of years, called the Dead End. Uh, and then, as far as counselors itself, what that one does, as far as counselors itself, not really. I wouldn't say, because I did try to do the whole wacky tobacco type of thing. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that one card was called. So kind of the artwork was going to be like you stumbled on some camp counselors that were in the woods at a campsite,
Mm-hmm.
smoking the wacky tobacco. And what that card does is it makes you skip up, you makes you scoop up a bunch of tile locations, shuffle them up mid game, and put them back out. So if you had memorized where certain things were, now it could be different. So that was something that I was looking to do, but then a couple of people were like, if you plan on this being something that is a game that goes mainstream eventually someday or something, maybe you don't want to go that route. Maybe you want to name it something different, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I went the route of calling it the Dead End. As far as like the disadvantage for the attributes and of special abilities when it comes to the camp counselors, I was playing with it in early play testing and trying to think about doing some stuff where they had a negative attribute and they had a positive attribute. Abandoned that. Not I abandoned that after a while because the killer is already pretty powerful. He rolls 3 6-sided dice versus your 2 6-sided dice. You do get to have resource cards that help as a modifier. I mean, you get an axe that can give you +3 attack, or a machete that gives you +2, or a bat that gives you +1, and so on and so on. So there is definitely ways for you to help modify your rolls. So I just thought that giving them a little bit extra bonus by giving them their special abilities was a better way of doing it than the negative. So
Makes sense.
maybe somewhere down the line it might be something else that it's explored. But
yeah. There's
as
always
of right
room
now,
for expansions.
oh yes, this game without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
One question I was going to ask is, while playing, is it always trying to escape, or can you actually kill the killer?
You've never watched a horror movie, have you, Dustin?
I have, but I'm just wanting to make sure that.
No, the only time that a win condition is going to be that you can actually kill the killer is when somebody, as long as we fund by Halloween, and we unlock Edgar, then someone will be able to play as Edgar, and then you can actually kill them, because the killer abilities are that you'll be able to, you will have that character, and one of the special things is he's got like 6 health. I think Edgar has 6 health.
Mm-hmm.
And if he dies, if people do enough damage to him to kill him, then at the bottom it reads, you roll a d6, and if you roll a certain number, you come back to life halfway with half health. So it's just like old school horror. Michael Myers, he does his little Undertaker sit up, and he keeps on trucking.
That's kind of what I was wanting to get at, because I was thinking of kind of like the Jason resurrection thing, and he would always come back. So that's the reason why I wanted to hit on that.
But to be fair, he usually comes back for what would be the equivalent of another game. Like, I mean, there's always like the final girls who end up winning and getting away because they're the last sole survivor. So, I mean, so it was a pretty interesting question to, like, put the killer down and be the final girl and walk out okay.
Yep.
And do we have any current questions or anything?
Not at the moment.
And I'll also say, anybody in the Zoom's got any questions, you can always raise your hand or let us know, and you can actually ask on stream.
Yeah. All right, and we do have about 15 minutes left in the show, so we should be looking for the final round of questions as well for people. So ask them while you have the chance, people. But all right, so we talked about Crimson Throne, Crimson Woods, not Crimson Thrones. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm tired. So yeah, Chugonomics did finally get around to his normal question of what he usually asks. So thank you. Coke, Pepsi, or RC?
Coke Zero, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi. That's how I would answer that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, I have type 2 diabetes, so whenever I do drink it, that's what I drink.
Yeah. Loneko would like to know when we're getting a Peppy Pepper as a competitor in SRG.
I mean, that's I'm not sure, man. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I know Alan was trying to make it happen. I appreciate everything that with him. And I told him, when we were trying to make it happen, I wish I could throw money at it, but all my money is tied up in this.
Mm-hmm.
And if it still happens, I know he said something to me personally about he still wants to make it happen, and that would be amazing. And I love him for that. If it does, it does. I'm pretty sure she will eventually be there some way, somehow, because I mean, obviously she's already in it. She's in the new Bobby O and me and Kirk artwork that Bobby O teased the other day. We're on that card. I did back last Kickstarter. I did get one of the special promo decks for all the alternate art, and so me and Salty are going to be on a card art for that eventually. And then Giggles, obviously he's got his entrance card. But yeah, so far that's all for Peppy.
All right, and the Rev has a question, so he may.
My man.
It.
That's my man.
So, due to some situations with current events involving a particular wrestler, we've had to go about it a different way. So it's not going to be a reskin. It's going to be a whole brand new character, and it's getting paid for in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, bro. Yeah, you're amazing, dude.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
I'll let Steve know, and he'll get with you after it gets paid for to help with designing it. And one of the big factors in getting it done like that is, and she's probably going to kill me because I don't remember her name. But there was somebody who has put in just about half for a brand new character. So we're going to get it taken care of here in about 3 weeks for you.
Thank you, Rev. I love you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's awesome. And
That's
community output
awesome.
too. Yeah. Yeah, it was great to organize it, and to everyone who helped out with that. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I
know
baby.
it was originally all part of the whole, us reskinning all of the 3 douchebags.
Mm-hmm.
That we all thought we cared about or whatnot, and then found out that they were not so great people. So yeah, and then the fact that even still after situations arise, like what I was saying, he's still 100% behind it. That's great. That's what I was talking about earlier. This community, even though things might happen as a family, we are family, and things happen in families all the time. I mean, hell, my sister-in-law is one in particular that's a huge love-hate relationship, but I love her to death. So I mean, it's the same exact way.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that answers the Phenomenal One's question about seeing Peppy Pepper in the CCC.
Sorry, sprinting. Sorry for the dog.
Oh, you're good, buddy.
You know, they want to get their say in too. I mean, I'm sure it was a very important question, like when am I going to get fed or when am I going to get walked?
No, it's mainly there's a person outside and they're trying to bark at them.
Oh, then it's who is this stranger? Why aren't you petting me? So the animal noises are a good segue into the phenomenal one's question of who's your SRG role model? Because you know he's a sheep.
SRG role model?
Yep.
Shoot, I don't even know. I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, because I would have to say, what are they backed up? They're leaving. Sorry, we don't know what's going on outside.
Edgar's outside.
Edgar's outside. So I would probably have to say, let's go take care of them, please. I would have to say that more than likely, I would have two, I guess, in that sense. It would probably be the phenomenal one, which he was sitting there wanting to say. I'm pretty sure he wants me to say that. Mainly because, you know, me and him have sat there and talked about, you know, the difference between how over Peppy is versus Giggles. You know, Giggles, when he got brought in, we already had the freak show, but you know there wasn't anybody else, and now we have Chuggy, which I'm not knocking my man Chuggy, and
you better
we
not.
have everybody who kind of is trying to do the whole Carney clown persona. I don't know, but there's nobody else in the game like Peppy, because nobody else has the ball like Peppy has to actually pull it off, and so. Me and Kirk have sat there and talked about that. So, and he's also given he was my coach for the Rising Star tournament. Apparently, he didn't coach me too well because I got knocked out real fast. And then I would have to say my boy Bob Dunn. You know, he's also going to be one of them because he helped me build my deck when it came to the 4-way against Steel Bull, Uber, and Doug, Eddie. So he was the one who gave me pointers with my deck. And I mean, honestly, the deck or not wasn't what made me win that game. What made me win that game was sat there being Peppy the whole time, and then saw my opening and took it. So I was a camper, pure and simple in that game. But yeah, so if I would have to pick out two people that I would say were my role models, it'd be those two. And Poco, I'm sorry, but if I had to pick one, it would just be Bob.
All right. So Master Mike is asking for a friend. How many sheep can we find in Crimson Woods?
Just one.
Just one. With a shovel, and you're going to be scared. And Mrs. Living Weapon would like to know who has been your favorite person to play in the game.
Me, probably Bill Early, just because me and him are very like-minded individuals. We are both from Maryland. Well, we're not from. He lives in Maryland right now. I don't think he's from there. I'm from Maryland. So me and him playing together, he's been to a lot of the places I've been. So it's just like talking to a friend from back home whenever I get to play with him. Trebbing is also the same way because Trebbing is up there in Maryland as well. So anytime, and also Warren Skinner. Pretty much anytime I'm playing anybody from the Baltimore area, it's like being back at home. So that's a bonus. But I think Bill Early is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, probably the best one, or the one I enjoy playing the most, especially like whenever I play in online events and I get paired up against him. Even after the game's over, we know. Oh my goodness. Even after the game's over, we sit there talking for a while. Anyway.
Yeah, Bill's a fun guy. I haven't played him a lot since like early in the pandemic, but yeah, he was always a fun play. Yeah. All right. So how about your favorite competitor to play in the game?
Oh, Sweet Pea. Hands down. Yeah, I mean, please stop. The GM has said it before. The GM loves my Sweet Pea deck. I love my Sweet Pea deck. It doesn't play out sometimes the way I wish it did. But yeah, she's definitely my favorite to play. I love playing her, and I've got Helena, which essentially is the same exact gimmick almost. Plus, I mean, Brian Cage is literally the same exact gimmick, but I don't know what it is about Sweet Pea. Her finishes are just better than Brian Cage, and I really enjoy playing her.
And I know, sadly, I had to meet that deck when we had that fun after dark match that we had, and sadly, I went down to Crab Beer 3. But man, I needed some Advil after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good built deck. Yeah, I was watching that match. It was a great show. All right, let's see if there's no more Twitch or Zoom questions or Twitch questions. Mrs. Living Weapon pointing out she's lost a lot to a Sweet Pea Dex. All right. Yep. So we got about 6 minutes left in the show. Since we have a pause in questions, Josh, is there anything you would like to promote about your Kickstarter that we haven't covered?
No, everything's been pretty much covered. Just, if anybody hasn't already backed it, please just go take some time, look through everything that's on the Kickstarter page. I got people who have done previews, playthroughs, component reviews. This weekend on Saturday on the Twitch the Compound's Twitch page, they're doing a live playthrough for Halloween. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Go check that out whenever it goes live if you guys can. If you have any interest or questions about actually the game, you'll be able to check it all out there being played live. But even on the Kickstarter page, there's videos of Tabletop Simulator playthroughs I've done with people. There is the reviews, the previews, and if there's any questions, anybody can hit me up anytime, and I will answer anything for them. I think this is a game that a lot of people will enjoy. The replayability is very, very high. Mm-hmm. So please go check it out and back if it's your cup of tea.
All right. Speaking of food, Master Michael would like to know what's your favorite soup to eat or drink.
Soup? Probably crab bisque. I'm from Maryland.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were using the SRG euphemism for soup of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are.
But all right.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's in that vein, looking back at opening night of Puzzles, it was pretty much everything that was in the fridge.
All right. Kirk Polka would like to know what your favorite horror or Halloween movie is.
And actually, it's the 27th of October, so these two need to get knocked down in the next 4 days because I've been so busy. But the two go-to horror movies that I watch every season are Trick or Treat with my boy Sam and Cabin in the Wood.
Okay.
Those two are my two favorite horror movies, hands down. I love those two. I don't know what it is. And it's crazy that, they're newer. But Trick or Treat's just pure and simple.
It's amazing.
Great movie.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I'm glad that it's catching steam again with everybody because I really hope it pushes them to do another one.
Yeah.
But I used to run a website that was a horror themed website where I would go to the local movie store and I would do the 5 for 5 for 5 deal. That was 5 movies for $5 for 5 nights. Okay. And I would get the cheesiest, most B, almost C, almost D movies, and watch every single minute of it. I would count every single body count, and then I would do the review, and I would have like a body count tracker on the website. And I mean, I'm talking, this was back when the internet first launched.
Okay.
So yeah, that's I used to do that, and so I mean, I've always been a horror fan. So I mean, obviously, Jason, Halloween. I was this time last. No, it wasn't this time last year, but literally, the new Halloween was filmed right here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was trying to get in as an extra so bad. But yeah, so
it's actually cool that you mentioned Halloween because where I'm from, Bowling Green, Kentucky, is about 20 minutes away from me. The very first Halloween was actually filmed 20 minutes away from me. And
nice.
it's cool because talking to you about it now because with I'm just gonna make it short, but Halloween is actually based about because John Carpenter was actually from Bowling Green, so you'll hear a bunch of references in the movies like Smith's Grove, that is actually a hospital here, and he mentions like even the county is Warren County, just like the Halloween movie. So a lot of the things in Halloween are actually based on the town that I'm actually from here. So
That's
it's
cool.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna have to PM you sometime. I've got all kinds of horror like sign stuff where I've met them and
He
all
does.
kinds. So
Yeah, he has quite a good, quite a collection of horror killer memorabilia.
Nice.
All right. So Kirk Polka, I don't know how this fits in the horror theme, but his question is Alien or Predator. Only one of them would be technically a horror movie, and that's Alien. But yeah, the original Alien. The
Well, yeah,
original
it's
Alien.
Alien versus Predator though.
No.
Predator was considered. I guess Predator is considered more action.
Yes.
But yeah, Alien. I would say Alien without a doubt. Little tidbit of information, little teaser for all you. So a lot of people keep on asking me: is this my one and done? Is this it? Is Crimson Woods going to be the only one? And the answer for that is no. I have a book, a notebook that I have a bunch of ideas written down in, and one of the ideas in using what now I'm claiming is the Crimson system is USS Crimson, and it will be a game that is very reminiscent to Crimson Woods, but taking place on a spaceship. So the 36 6x6 tile grid is actually a spaceship where there'll be, a bunch of different locations in the spaceship, and you'll be being chased by some type of creature or whatnot.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, that's an awesome idea. Yeah. So yeah, definitely Alien, because it is not only is it the better horror movie, it is the better movie. Period.
Yes.
Over Predator.
Yeah.
Don't tell T.J. Marconi I said it. He's too much. Yeah, he's too much of a Schwarzenegger fan to ever accept something like that as truth.
Oh, gee.
All right. So it is 7:30. So if we have any final thoughts, so that we can get you onto your next interview and get people onto the dojo and then do our raffle. So any final questions, Dustin?
I'm out of questions, but man, it's been a pleasure having you on here. I'm just so excited about this game. I really am. And I can't, I asked Steve back on our very first episode what it was like to know that you launched your first game. I couldn't imagine what you're feeling right now.
Dude, yeah, it was from word go. Well, last night my stomach was in knots. I really didn't think I was going to sleep too well. I thought it was going to be more like Christmas morning, but actually I slept pretty well. Then, this morning we woke up. My wife and I, we decided, she was like, are you sure you want to, what do you want to do this morning? And I was like, let's go to the local thrift store because just had some time to kill. And so it felt like a normal morning and everything. And then once I went live and I got ready to click that button, man, it was something else. And it's awesome. It's great sitting here watching the numbers go up.
Yeah.
I just hope that it keeps
80 backers.
Going up.
It went up 4 backers since the start of the show. So,
yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, sitting there, I didn't anticipate funding in one day. I didn't, to be at $5,000 in 8 hours. So percentage wise, I'm looking at, I don't even know what that is, but percentage wise, we're looking at
About a third of the way, I think, right?
yeah, 32%
Yeah.
is what I'm sitting at right now within 8 hours. I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
So,
Especially for a first time person on Kickstarter, yeah, it's a really awesome. Yeah, so.
And also, I want to say kudos to Steve Risk. He backed it, and you were talking about the coolness in this community.
Yeah.
The fact that he made Super Show and he's backing your game, that shows, a whole lot about him and this community itself.
oh yeah, Steve. And what we have planned for, Steve, backed at the Create a Killer level, and so
sense.
what
SRG
we've
boss is
already
a
been
murderer.
talking. Yeah, we've already been talking about ideas, and I think what you guys are going to see coming out of that is you're going to love. So
That's awesome. All right, so we should probably do our raffle pool. So let me close the entries, and all right, I'll close the entries, and we can pull our winners. So the first
All right, so
raffle is the first one is going to be for the Mad Custodian foil,
and it's the brand new one, the updated version.
Yep, with the kendo sticks, which is always better. And the winner of that is Hold the Line Harry.
Awesome.
And the winner of the foil Gathering the Steel Chain is Ken Fouché. Wow, you might be able to save on shipping on that one.
He's only 20 minutes away.
So congrats to the two of you.
Also wanted to say to our past winners I spoke to, I had those orders go out yesterday, for I wasn't able to ship them while I was sick. I had sadly COVID, but I'm over that now, and I'm not white as a ghost anymore, and I'm just happy to be back. I started work yesterday, so everything's back to normal. And I just wanted to let y'all know that all orders went out yesterday.
All right, and for the
current
winners,
I'm glad to hear that you're better.
Yeah. Always better to not be COVID. So it's good to see that.
I had to go get tested last Monday.
Yeah, I was tested last week and I was negative. But yeah, it is not the funnest test in the world.
No, not at all.
I mean, there are more uncomfortable places to have things put in, but not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many. All right. With that, we should be saying goodnight for tonight. Thank you again for being on the show. It was great, very informative, and good luck with the Kickstarter, man.
Yeah, good luck, man. I appreciate having you and everything. I just want to say that it's awesome having you in this community. You never have to apologize for, you've been so busy with this, I couldn't imagine. So just keep doing what you're doing, brother, and I can't wait to have the game.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me so much. And I can't wait till you guys are opening those games and enjoying them with everybody else.
All right. So we will see you all later.
Until next time.